Dear brothers and sisters, of the 266 popes that you and I have had in the church, only 3 have been given the title Great. They are Pope St. Leo the Great, who served during the 400s, Pope St. Nicholas the Great, who served during the 800s, and Pope St. Gregory the Great, whom we celebrate today. Gregory was born in Rome of very, very wealthy parents. When his parents died, he inherited their estate on the Caelian Hill, as well as 6 other large estates in Sicily. But it all meant nothing to him. Not long after their deaths, Gregory became a Benedictine monk, and he turned his parents' home into a monastery that is still there on the Caelian Hill called St. Andrew's. He then sold the other estates, and he used the money to found other monasteries and to give relief to the poor. He lived his whole life that way, even as Pope, letting go of the things that were his, that they might be able to belong and help others. Wealth and worldly power meant absolutely nothing to him. And yet the less he had, the more he accomplished. As Pope, he called himself the servant of the servants of God. And that title has remained even to this day. Pope Francis refers to himself as the servant of the servants of God. In the gospel today, Jesus speaks to his disciples about being servants. An argument had broken out among the apostles about whom among them was the greatest. Jesus picks up on the conversation and he says to them, "There are lots of people for whom places of honor and power are important, but among you it shall not be so. I am with you as one who serves, and you must do the same." The priest, in other words, is first a servant. As St. Paul put it in our first reading today, we do not preach ourselves, but Jesus Christ as Lord, and we are slaves, slaves to those we serve for the sake of Jesus. Pope St. Gregory became great because he embraced fully this model of priestly service. With me today are 3 seminarians from Pope St. John the 23rd National Seminary for older men, just outside of Boston. They come from the Archdiocese of St. Louis, our deacon serving today, from the Diocese of Venice in Florida, our server, and from the Archdiocese of Boston, our reader today at Mass. Like the Lord's apostles, these 3 men discovered their call from the Lord later in life. Each longs for the day that his bishop will ordain him to be a priest, a servant of Jesus, who, after the example of St. Gregory, will look at others as greater than himself and will pour out his life for the sake of Jesus to those whom he serves. Pray for these men, and as you hear me mention so often, please don't hesitate to look out for older men who you know are worthy candidates for the priesthood, and say something to them. Encourage them. Tell them that you'd think they'd be a fine priest. In many ways, when they hear that, something that is already working in their hearts begins to respond. May it ever be so. Amen. Amen.